Jennifer Dulos seemed to have it all: a beautiful family, a successful husband, and a life of luxury in the affluent town of New Canaan, Connecticut. Jennifer, a writer, and her husband, Fotis Dulos, a prominent real estate developer, lived in a lavish mansion with their 5 children. To outsiders, they embodied the American dream. Yet beneath the surface, the marriage was crumbling. The relationship between Jennifer and Fotis had begun to deteriorate over the years. While they had married in 2004 and appeared to have a happy and thriving family, Fotis's increasing focus on his business, aggressive financial behavior, and alleged infidelity put a strain on their marriage. In 2017, Jennifer discovered that Fotis had been involved in a romantic relationship with a younger woman, Michelle Troconis, further deepening the rift. By 2017, Jennifer had reached her breaking point. She filed for divorce and sought custody of their children, citing Fotis's controlling nature and his reckless financial decisions as key reasons for the separation. What followed was a contentious, bitter, and protracted custody battle that exposed the couple's darkest secrets. Jennifer claimed she feared for her safety and that of her children, even alleging that Fotis had exhibited increasingly dangerous behavior. The custody battle took a toll on both Jennifer and Fotis, with tensions escalating over the division of assets and the children's future. Jennifer's court filings painted a grim picture of their relationship. She alleged that Fotis was verbally abusive and had shown a pattern of manipulative behavior throughout their marriage. She claimed he was controlling and that his influence over her life had become suffocating. Fotis, on the other hand, fought back against Jennifer's accusations. He countered her claims by presenting himself as a loving father who wanted to maintain an active role in the lives of his children. He argued that Jennifer was trying to alienate him from their children and presented himself as the victim of her attempts to take away his parental rights. The legal battle was becoming uglier with each passing month, and the emotional toll on both parties was evident. Amidst the legal strife, Fotis continued his relationship with Michelle Troconis, which added fuel to Jennifer's fears. She was worried that the presence of another woman in their lives would create an unstable environment for the children. Tensions escalated further when Fotis began defying court orders by allowing his girlfriend to stay at the family home, despite a court mandate prohibiting it. This defiance only deepened the animosity and solidified Jennifer's resolve to keep her children away from him. On May 24, 2019, the simmering tensions reached a tragic climax. Jennifer, 50, disappeared without a trace. The day started off like any other. She had dropped her children off at school and returned to her New Canaan rental house. But later that day, she missed several appointments, and no one could reach her. Concerned friends and family immediately contacted the authorities, fearing that something was terribly wrong. Police began an extensive search for Jennifer, initially focusing on her residence, where they found blood stains and signs of a violent struggle. The evidence suggested foul play, pointing to the likelihood that Jennifer had been the victim of an attack inside her own home. The case quickly garnered significant media attention, with authorities launching an exhaustive search to find her and determine what had happened. As investigators probed deeper into the case, suspicions began to center on Fotis Dulos and his girlfriend, Michelle Troconis. The day after Jennifer's disappearance, surveillance footage captured a man closely resembling Fotis disposing of garbage bags at over 30 different locations in Hartford, Connecticut. The contents of the bags, which included blood-stained clothing and cleaning supplies, raised a chilling suspicion that Fotis and Michelle had attempted to dispose of evidence linked to Jennifer's disappearance. On June 1, 2019, Fotis Dulos and Michelle Troconis were arrested and charged with tampering with evidence and hindering prosecution in connection with Jennifer's disappearance. Both initially denied any involvement, and Fotis maintained his innocence, insisting that he had nothing to do with his estranged wife's disappearance. As the investigation unfolded, more details came to light. Authorities alleged that Fotis had been lying in wait for Jennifer at her house, ambushing her when she returned from dropping off the children. The evidence recovered from the various trash bins in Hartford included items stained with Jennifer's blood, suggesting that a significant attempt had been made to clean up a crime scene. Additionally, investigators found traces of Jennifer's blood inside a vehicle Fotis had borrowed from one of his employees, which was believed to have been used in the commission of the crime. Michelle Troconis, in a series of interviews with investigators, began to change her story, admitting that some of the alibi information she initially provided for Fotis was untrue. As the investigation pressed on, more charges were added, including felony murder and kidnapping. The case against Fotis and Michelle seemed to grow stronger, even though Jennifer's body had yet to be found. As the legal pressure mounted, Fotis's once confident demeanor began to crack. The extensive media coverage, combined with mounting legal fees and the weight of the accusations, took a significant toll on his mental state. He faced losing his freedom, his reputation, and the custody of his children, all while dealing with the public disgrace of being accused of murdering his estranged wife. In January 2020, Fotis was arrested yet again, this time on charges of capital murder, felony murder, and kidnapping. It seemed that the case against him had reached a point of no return. The evidence, although largely circumstantial, was significant enough to build a narrative of premeditation and guilt. However, the absence of Jennifer's body continued to be a sticking point in the case. Fotis's lawyer maintained that his client was innocent and contended that Jennifer had either staged her own disappearance or was a victim of foul play by an unknown party. However, this defense failed to resonate as the prosecution built a solid case portraying Fotis as a controlling and jealous husband who was driven to murder his wife to avoid financial ruin and gain full custody of his children. As Fotis faced an impending trial, his mental and emotional state appeared to deteriorate. On January 28, 2020, just days after being released on bail, Fotis was found unresponsive in his garage, the result of a suicide attempt by carbon monoxide poisoning. He was rushed to the hospital, where he succumbed to his injuries 2 days later. Fotis's death did not mark the end of the legal saga. The case against Michelle Troconis continued, with prosecutors seeking justice for Jennifer. Although Michelle was not charged with murder, she faced accusations of helping Fotis in the aftermath of the crime. Her changing accounts during police interrogations raised questions about the extent of her involvement. The Dulos children, who had lost both parents in the most tragic of circumstances, were placed in the care of Jennifer's mother, Gloria Farber, who had been fighting for custody since Jennifer's disappearance. The family faced a long road to healing, haunted by the unanswered questions surrounding Jennifer's fate and the tragedy that had befallen them. The Jennifer Dulos case serves as a harrowing reminder of the dangers of domestic violence, even in families that appear affluent and stable from the outside. The couple's high-profile custody battle revealed the underlying issues of control and emotional abuse that had plagued their marriage. Jennifer's fears, once dismissed as exaggeration during the divorce proceedings, were tragically validated by the outcome of the case. Jennifer's disappearance and presumed murder highlighted the grim reality that domestic violence can affect anyone, regardless of social or economic status. It also underscored the importance of taking allegations of abuse seriously and providing support for those seeking to escape toxic relationships. Jennifer had expressed her concerns for her safety during the custody battle, yet those warnings went unheeded. The impact of Jennifer's disappearance continues to resonate, especially in the realm of family law. It has sparked conversations about how courts handle cases involving domestic violence allegations and the measures that should be taken to protect individuals who are at risk. There have been calls for reforms that would provide better safeguards for victims of domestic abuse, particularly during divorce and custody disputes. For the residents of New Canaan, the case left a lasting scar, serving as a somber reminder of how appearances can be deceiving. Jennifer's friends and family continue to honor her memory by advocating for domestic violence awareness and supporting efforts to improve the legal system's response to similar cases. The story of Jennifer and Fotis Dulos is one of a seemingly perfect life torn apart by deception, infidelity, and ultimately, murder. What began as a bitter custody dispute culminated in a tragedy that left a family shattered and a community in mourning. While the mystery surrounding Jennifer's disappearance may never be fully resolved, her case serves as a powerful testament to the need for vigilance and compassion in addressing the hidden dangers that can lurk behind closed doors. The Dulos case remains a chilling reminder that even the most outwardly idyllic relationships can harbor darkness, and that the pursuit of control and revenge can lead to devastating consequences. As Jennifer's loved ones continue to search for answers and seek justice, The story serves as both a cautionary tale and a call to action for the protection of vulnerable individuals facing domestic violence. Following the tragic events surrounding Jennifer and Fotis Doulos, many questions still linger. Jennifer's body has never been found, which has left a painful gap in the story for her loved ones who are still searching for closure. Despite exhaustive searches, investigations, and forensic efforts, the mystery of her final resting place remains unsolved. The search for Jennifer was one of the most extensive efforts in Connecticut's history. Volunteers, search and rescue teams, and law enforcement officers scoured parks, woods, and bodies of water, hoping to find any sign of her remains. Divers searched ponds and lakes, while specialized canine units were brought in to detect the scent of human remains. Despite these efforts, no conclusive evidence was found, further deepening the mystery and despair felt by her friends and family. The inability to locate Jennifer's body significantly complicated the legal process. Without a body, prosecutors had to rely on circumstantial evidence to build their case, presenting the theory that Fotis had meticulously planned and executed her murder before covering up his actions. The absence of physical remains also made it difficult for investigators to understand exactly what had transpired on the day of Jennifer's disappearance. As Fotis's co-defendant, Michelle Troconis found herself in a precarious legal situation. She was charged with evidence tampering and hindering prosecution. Her relationship with Fotis and changing statements to law enforcement became a focal point for the prosecution, which alleged that she had knowingly assisted Fotis in the aftermath of Jennifer's presumed murder. Troconis's defense team argued that she had been manipulated by Fotis and was unaware of the extent of his plans. Her shifting narrative in police interrogations complicated her defense, as the prosecution used these inconsistencies to suggest that she was deliberately misleading authorities. As of now, Michelle Troconis's case remains unresolved, with her trial still pending as new evidence and testimonies are being considered. Her legal journey is a key chapter in the overall saga, and the final outcome could potentially shed more light on the events leading to Jennifer's disappearance. For the 5 Doulos children, the aftermath of their parents' tumultuous relationship and Jennifer's disappearance has been unimaginably difficult. They were abruptly thrust into a world of tragedy, losing not only their mother under mysterious and violent circumstances, but also their father in a subsequent suicide. The psychological impact on the children has been profound, and they have needed significant support to navigate the trauma. The children's maternal grandmother, Gloria Farber, who has been a constant presence in their lives, took on the role of legal guardian. Gloria had been vocal in her support of Jennifer during the custody battle and was one of her strongest advocates. She stepped in to provide the children with stability and comfort, despite her own overwhelming grief. The Doulos children have faced the daunting task of rebuilding their lives while living under the shadow of their parents' highly publicized case. As they grow older, they continue to be haunted by the unanswered questions and the painful reality that they may never fully know what happened to their mother. Jennifer's disappearance and the ensuing legal drama have had wide-reaching effects beyond her immediate family. It has sparked outrage and debate over how the family court system handles allegations of domestic violence. Many have argued that Jennifer's claims of feeling unsafe around Fotis should have been given more weight in the court proceedings. There is a growing movement advocating for changes to family law, with an emphasis on prioritizing the safety of abuse victims in custody battles. Organizations focused on domestic violence awareness have used Jennifer's story as a rallying point to push for legal reforms. There is a demand for stricter measures, such as mandatory risk assessments for individuals accused of domestic violence during divorce and custody disputes. The case has also brought to light the need for better support systems for those experiencing coercive control and psychological abuse, which often do not receive the same legal recognition as physical violence. In addition to influencing family law reform, the Doulos case has impacted how law enforcement approaches missing person cases with potential foul play. Investigators have refined their protocols for handling situations involving domestic disputes, ensuring that allegations of abuse or threats are treated with greater seriousness. The procedural changes aim to prevent future tragedies similar to what happened with Jennifer. Though it has been years since Jennifer's disappearance, the search for answers has not ceased. Her friends and family continue to hope for a breakthrough in the investigation that might finally reveal the truth about her fate. The case remains open, with occasional new leads emerging, though none have yet led to a resolution. The lack of closure has left a painful mark on Jennifer's loved ones, who have had to grapple with the unsettling reality that justice may never be fully served. Authorities have kept the investigation active, pursuing any tips or new evidence that might shed light on what happened. There have been occasional public appeals for information and rewards offered for anyone who might come forward with knowledge about Jennifer's whereabouts. Despite these efforts, the mystery surrounding her fate remains a lingering reminder of the darkness that can lie behind seemingly idyllic lives. Amid the tragedy, Jennifer's family and friends have found ways to honor her memory. They remember her as a loving mother, talented writer, and cherished friend who brought light to the lives of those around her. Memorials and tributes have been held in her honor, where loved ones share stories of her kindness, humor, and the deep love she had for her children. Jennifer's loved ones have also taken up the cause of advocating for domestic violence awareness. By sharing her story, they aim to bring attention to the signs of emotional abuse and coercive control, with the hope that other individuals in similar situations can find help before it is too late. Her family continues to work closely with organizations that support victims of domestic violence, keeping Jennifer's legacy alive by helping others who face dangerous relationships. The tragedy of Jennifer Dulos's disappearance and the events that followed serves as a cautionary tale about the perils of unresolved marital conflict, especially when coupled with underlying control issues. Her case is an ongoing reminder of the potential dangers faced by those who try to escape abusive or manipulative relationships. The fight for justice for Jennifer continues, not just in the courtroom but also in the broader push to reform systems that failed to protect her. Jennifer Dulos's story goes beyond one woman's tragedy. It speaks to the broader issue of domestic violence in society. It highlights the complexities and subtleties of abuse, which often involve manipulation, control, and psychological trauma that can be more challenging to recognize than physical abuse. The Dulos case shows the need for heightened awareness, legal protections, and support systems for individuals facing domestic violence. The case has also challenged the legal system's approach to family court matters. It emphasizes the need to reevaluate how allegations of abuse are handled during custody disputes, advocating for prioritizing the safety of children and potential victims above all else. Legal experts and advocates have called for more training for judges and family court professionals to recognize the signs of coercive control and psychological abuse. The tragedy of Jennifer's disappearance, coupled with Fotis's ultimate demise, paints a picture of how control and manipulation can escalate to fatal consequences. It calls into question whether more could have been done to protect Jennifer and prevent the tragedy. The case encourages society to rethink how domestic violence is addressed, to provide better resources for victims, and to create systems that can prevent tragedies like the one that befell the Dulos family. The Jennifer and Fotis Dulos case remains one of the most chilling and complex true crime stories in recent memory. It is a tale of a marriage that deteriorated under the weight of infidelity, financial struggles, and escalating control. What began as a bitter custody dispute ended in unimaginable tragedy, leaving 5 children without parents and a community searching for answers. Jennifer's disappearance, presumed murder, and the legal battles that followed have sparked necessary conversations about the need for reform in domestic violence laws and family court proceedings. While justice for Jennifer may still be elusive, her story has left a legacy that could potentially save others who find themselves in similar, dangerous situations. As the search for Jennifer continues and legal proceedings unfold, the case serves as a stark reminder of the darkness that can hide behind closed doors, even in the most affluent neighborhoods. It is a story of love turned to bitterness, of lives intertwined in tragedy, and of a quest for justice that persists despite overwhelming odds. Jennifer Dulos will not be forgotten, and her story remains a powerful call to action to protect those vulnerable to domestic violence.